Okay, so I'm just doing a quick test if anyone's watching at the moment. I think 3 are watching. We'll be on about 8:30, just testing if the audio's working.
Test. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, so we'll be about in about 6 minutes. We're talking about World War III. If anyone's watching and you have got any questions for us, if you've got any interest in World War III, I've got some good and bad things to say. But like I say, we'll be on in about 5 minutes' time. talking about World War Three. Thanks for popping along. Hello, Face Sitter. First, always there. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, we're talking about World War Three. It was a game I was invested in, a game I was really excited about, but it went tits up, in all fairness. I mean, its initial release and its launch was an absolute disaster, but I was invested in it. I kept giving it a try, and I know some of my friends, namely Chris from Christie Gaming Zone, we played the game a lot, and we give it, we give it a lot of support on our channels and actually playing the game. But I mean, the player base just dwindled for a game that everyone said was going to be the Battlefield killer. It just didn't happen. Now, just recently, we've been seeing that they've been posting sort of cryptic things. We've had 7, we've had 6, and there's a lot of speculation that things are going to happen on the 14th. They are going to PAX. They're going to be showing us the new reinvention of World War III. And there's something about the 28th of July that there's something going to happen. And that'll be something decent for me, because that's my birthday, the 28th of July. So that'll be a thing. But tonight, anyway, we're going to talk about World War III. Tonight, at the moment, I've got Borks. Maybe Stealth will pop on in a bit. But good evening, Borks. How are you?
Not so bad, thank you.
Yeah, so Borks, what's your sort of experience you've had? We had a wee chat just before we started the stream. What's your experience been of World War III? Have you played it? Did you think you were going to play it? What's your impressions of World War III?
Yeah, so I remember it, getting hyped on YouTube and, streamers and big people playing it.
Yeah.
And I thought that's right up my street. That's the kind of game that I play. Noticed quite a few of my Steam friends bought it, and the reviews were pretty negative. Everything that kind of could be wrong with an FPS was wrong with this one.
Went wrong, yeah.
Servers were ridiculously unstable. The servers were dead most of the time. There were hackers. There was this. There was that. And to be honest, I've looked at the game so many times and thought, shall I, shan't I? And I never actually have. And it's one of those games that kind of burnt very bright and fast. Yeah.
So initially pricked your interest, though.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's a first-person shooter, so it's usually right up my street anyway. But the setting's good. The alternative to Battlefield kind of vibe I thought was quite good, but yeah, I don't know.
It just didn't happen for you. Yeah.
There's just something about the game that just didn't work.
One thing I did notice though, the phrase that kept coming out was Battlefield killer, and all the people that I seen saying it were all like Battlefield players. So I don't know. I know everyone was pissed off with Battlefield 5. I mean, I definitely was, and I was looking for something new, but it was never going to be a Battlefield killer. But you are right. I played it at the beginning. The servers were a mess. The optimization was a mess. But the game itself, the way it played. I mean, I've got differences between, I mentioned him before, Chris for Christie Gaming Zone. I described it as more COD-like, and I mean, I said that the actual settings and the way it looked and the overall aesthetics of it did remind me of a Battlefield game. However, when I actually played the gameplay itself was more Call of Duty for me than Battlefield. But people have their own views. But anyway, so it had a terrible start. The community sort of dwindled very, very quickly. They couldn't sort of get it right from the beginning. It was pretty much doomed right from day one. And like I say, I actually did support it. I went back and kept playing it, but the optimization was terrible. It was mostly unplayable. And, when I think I paid 15 quid or something for it, and we'll go on to that because of the way the direction that they're going. But like I say, there's been a lot more interest in World War III because of these cryptic messages they're putting out. and the speculation something's going to be happening on the 14th of this month and the 28th of this month. It's getting a little bit of hype at the moment. Have you seen anything, Bork? I mean, I know, I believe you don't use Twitter or anything, but in your circles, have you heard like the new hype for Battlefield 3, World War 3?
Yeah, I've noticed on YouTube. Pretty much YouTube's my only social media, really.
Sure.
But I've noticed a lot more videos coming past lately. I'd like to point out that, pegging yourself as a Battlefield killer, competing with EA and Battlefield 5, it's pretty bold.
In all fairness, I don't think it was them. I think it was the community. And it was, what the confusing thing was, Balt? It was mostly coming from the Battlefield community saying, is this the Battlefield killer?
Nah, well, EA did that on their own. They don't need anybody else helping them.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one. It's one of those games. Like I said, it burnt very, very bright at the very beginning.
Sure.
And to be fair, I don't know. I'd say it a lot. I'm very, very cynical. But when a game is hyped and hyped and hyped early on, it usually crashes and burns.
And it literally did. In all fairness, it did.
I remember probably, I think we got like 100 Steam friends, and I remember maybe 10 people playing it at any given time over the first few weekends it came out.
Sure.
And then very quickly it was none. And the game hasn't really been mentioned until this kind of recent resurgence on, YouTube and people talking about it. Obviously, that's to do with the console release and different things.
Sure. I mean, and that was the one of the most exciting things is the fact that they were promising it to be released on the console. So that pricked a lot of ears from the console community that are looking for something like this. And the setting was great. The customization was beyond anything I've seen, especially from a game that really came out of nowhere. The customization was absolutely awesome. And the maps were great. I enjoyed the maps. I enjoyed the actual gameplay itself when I could get a decent game. But I mean, they went into I don't think they went into this really thinking about it. I think they must have got cheap servers, and no disrespect if anyone's watching, you're a World War 3 fan, or if you're one of the team from World War 3 that's watching this, or maybe watch it afterwards. Look, I was a fan. I invested in this title. I bought your title. There's one or two things that are disappointing me, and the direction that you're going, I understand, and a lot of people understand why you would go with My.Games. I'm not the biggest fan, but leopards can change the spots. What's worrying me, and I'm after a conversation we bought just before we start, the one thing, and there's not many out there that do it right, the one thing that really worries me is that you are putting this game out free to play. I think it's great it's free to play, but it concerns me a little bit that, the microtransactions and the monetization of the game, will it become play to win? That's concerning me a little bit. I know it's concerning you, Bart. What are your views on that?
I think, first of all, what they try to do is they try to compete with AAA.
Yeah.
And that's. Do you know what? I'm not saying don't do it. I think there's games like Hell Let Loose and they show that you can actually have an almost AAA experience without the AAA budget.
Yeah,
but I think it's a very, very hard thing to do, like especially if you're in a niche. And they were in a niche that obviously was dominated by the big boys.
And I think it's going to take something really, really special to knock those two off the pedestal.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I'm talking about COD and Battlefield, they are the AAA shooters out there of this sort of genre. I mean, obviously you've got Rainbow Six Siege, which is absolutely massive AAA, but it's not the same sort of game. Whereas I thought World War 3 was sort of moving in that direction.
It was indie through and through. Now, I've got nothing against indie games. I've got nothing against having ambition.
I'm starting to prefer them, to be honest.
Well, yeah. Because generally, I think the difference is major studios and major publishers try to focus on a a bit of something for everybody as
Sure.
the product goes. And I think that realistically, what most of us enjoy is a tailored experience that's more towards our taste. Like that.
And I mean, it's hard, but it's hard getting it right for everyone. I mean, look at Call of Duty at the moment. The COD community absolutely hate Cold War, but as someone new coming into the game, I don't specifically mean myself, even though I will include myself in this. I've had a half decent time, but they're not now. As far as the COD community is they're not catering to them anymore. They're catering to, a broader general sort of market that, just enhancing what you've said. I mean, it's really hard to get it right 100%.
Yeah, the idea is you want to sell as many copies as possible. And the way to do that is to have something for everybody.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. But, I don't know about you. I'll go back 20 years ago. Games were more focused on doing a specific thing.
Sure.
A tactical shooter like Rainbow Six was slow, steady, planned, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you don't get me wrong, you run a gun shooters existed, Soldier of Fortune 2, or, even arena shooters like Quake or Unreal Tournament.
Sure.
Like they were all very, very good at what they did, but they stayed in their own lanes. They didn't try and be for everybody. And I think that's what a lot of games. That's what's failed with a lot of big titles.
Do you think that's where they're tripping up? That they're trying to cater for too much, stepping over into, shall we say, other games' territories?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Battlefield has always been the open world experience.
Yeah, large scale. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I stand by the fact that they're still probably the best at it.
I mean, they are. I mean, it's night and day. I think definitely they are. And, for a game like World War 3 to try and do that, it's brilliant. I mean, the concept was absolutely, fantastic. I was really excited about it. And like I said, I gave it a lot of chances. And then, it really did just sort of die a death. But you know what? I thought, maybe this is something different. It's a Battlefield, but it's more hardcore. It definitely wasn't tactical. There was, still run and gun game for me, but it was hardcore. It was like a hardcore Battlefield, and people will say, we'll play Battlefield in hardcore mode. But yeah, it was just something different. I was really excited, and like I say, I did give it a chance, but I don't think they went into releasing this game with their eyes wide open. I think they got a lot of praise before anyone had really seen the game, and I thought that they thought that was going to be good enough. What they didn't think about, for me, was the infrastructure. How is this game going to run when your servers are going to be bombarded on day one? And I think that was a problem. And balked, honestly, on day one. I waited, and I don't know why I did. I waited nearly an hour just to get to play one game. It was an absolute nightmare.
So this is where it goes back to one of my favourite topics: community-hosted servers out the box.
Yeah.
Give us the server binaries.
Yeah.
If it's that good, I'll host 2 or 3 servers.
Sure.
Now, that means your community doesn't have to sit around and wait to play. It's that simple. But no, I think they're a casualty of trying to compete with, the biggest games on the market, and it probably isn't the wisest thing to do as almost your first venture into the genre.
And FaceSitter there just made a really relevant comment. FaceSitter said a lot of games are now jack of all trades and masters of none. I mean, that enhances what you just said 5 minutes ago.
That's far more eloquently than I put it. Yeah, it's exactly that. And what you end up is a generally watered down experience. Yeah. But it's enough to just keep people interested in part and.
Do you remember the hype for World War 3? Do you remember when it, before it was released? Were you at all excited about it? I know you're quite apprehensive about pretty much everything that comes out. You like to see the goods before you get yourself excited. But I mean, I got myself massively excited. I don't know what your experience was.
It was on my Steam wishlist for maybe years. I don't know.
Sure.
A real
A long time.
Yeah. And my Steam wish list isn't really a wish list. It's just a list of games that are coming soon that I'm interested in.
Sure. Same.
You know, luckily I'm in a position where if I want it, I'll buy it. So if it's already out, I've got it. But yeah, I was massively interested in it. Of course, it's definitely right up my street. But from everything I saw, the execution was poor. And I do think this kind of new reinvention as a free-to-play cash grab.
So what are your views on the fact that on Steam, there's people out there, and a lot of people out there that have bought this game, and now it's coming free to play because it failed as a paid game. They were picked up by a big publisher, regardless if you like them or not. Yeah. They're picked up by them, and now they're going free to play.
That happens. That happened with, CS:GO is a good example of that.
Sure. See, I don't have a problem with it. And I paid for it.
In theory, as long as your business model is fair and it's not pay to win,
sure,
I don't have a problem. Now you look at we played it listed recently. They've obviously just turned that game into a cash grab now, where it's like £75 or whatever it is for some new maps and that kind of
yeah.
It'll kill the game. It's simple as that. It'll kill the game because there's people out there who just won't part with their cash. Not that much cash for that.
For that, yeah.
And I can see this becoming very much the same way. And do you know what? And I don't think in defence of the developers and the studio, I think quite often they enter into these deals with the best intentions. We're going to be the free-to-play game that doesn't overcharge or doesn't introduce pay-to-win or doesn't change stats for money kind of thing. And then the publisher says, yes, you are. Like we own it.
Exactly. And I mean, you've got to adhere to that. And being someone who believes in, I suppose I'm a capitalist. I think I'm the same as you. Look, if this is the way that you're going to make money and get people playing the game. Just let me address someone balked. Angry Whitker 47 is a game coming to PS4. All we know is the game is coming to console. Initially, it was coming to the PS4 and the Xbox One X. If it's going to come to current gen or go back and come out on PS4 and the Xbox One X, not sure. All we know is that it's actually coming out on the actual console. And you got Face Sitter there saying, enjoying listening to Balked is a cynic like me. Yeah. You've got a fan.
Yeah, thank you. Do you know what? I'm not as cynical as I sound, but I've been around a long time and I've been stung a lot of times. And I think, one of the things that the gaming does really well is they market hype and they sell us things that we don't necessarily really want.
Sure. And the bottom line is you've got to be sensible about this. I mean, they've got to make money, and the publishers who've I don't know. I'm not sure if they actually bought them out or did they just say, right, we'll take you under our wing. I'm not overly sure on the situation, but they're going to be turning around to this developer and they're going to be saying, we're going to start making money. I'm going to throw some money at you, but you're going to make money back for us. I'm just a bit concerned how this money's going to be made, Balked.
Well, let's break it down. You're a major publisher with a lot of money, huge amount of capital behind you, money to spend. And I'm an indie game development studio. Maybe I've got 20, 50 employees, who knows. The bills are piling up, the sales are dropping, the hype is gone.
Sure.
And my product is generally perceived as being pretty poor. Now, that all said, I still believe that the project is viable and can be profitable and can be redeemed. But I've already launched. I've peaked too early and I've got nowhere else to go. You've got one route. You close your studio or you go free to play.
Yeah.
Free to play.
And do you think they've been forced though, Balked? I mean, again, we've got to be realistic. If they if someone takes them under the wing, throws a lot of money at them and says they've got to do it, you don't know what's going on in the background.
I don't think anybody holds a gun to anybody's head and say, "Sell me your studio and your
No,
your
exactly.
project."
No, exactly.
I think what happens is, from from a director of a studio's point of view, you sit there and you look at the spreadsheets and you go, "Shit, we've got 6 month burn time before we're done."
Yeah, we're dead in the water. Yeah.
Now I still believe in this project. The only way that we're going to get an injection of cash is to sell to a major publisher, go free to play, monetize.
Sure.
And I'll sit there and I'll put together a business model which says, we're going to sell cosmetics, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's not going to impact the gameplay, and that will maintain our player base. Now, as with all things, your initial hype after this comes out is going to be quite high, and people are going to play for several weeks, months. But it will peter out.
Yeah.
That's when the publisher turns around and says,
"No, it's gonna be it's pay to win. That's the model we're going to turn to." You see, this is what I'm really, really worried about. I mean, the reputation of the publisher, and I'm not getting on your backs. I do get on developers' backs, but I'm not getting on your back. I just hope that, because I'm re-hyped for the game. I want to play it again. I just don't want the game to be spoilt by that. Cosmetics, customizations, that's fine by me. But if it starts becoming pay to win, then I think this game will free to play or not. There's a lot of free battle royales out there that started trying to do pay to win and failed. Ring of Elysium that started doing microtransactions for certain things, and I mean, again, that's another one that was dead in the water, and that had a lot of potential. Ring of Elysium, I thought it had an awful lot of potential, but I think I'm not sure if it's panic, maybe as it is, that a developer thinks, right, I need to do this, I need to do that, I've put a lot of money into this game, or we need to make a lot of money and we need to make it quick. How do we do this? And play to win seems to pop up an awful lot, Box.
Of course it does. Of course it does. And I completely understand why. It's very easy to sell your soul.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time, people don't realise that they've sold their soul.
Because it's done very clever. I mean, we've talked about marketing before, Bot, and they do it very, very cleverly.
It's very similar to the kind of penny arcade, kind of slot machine industry.
Yeah.
Just put £1 in; it doesn't matter. Before you know it, there's going to be a certain percentage of people who are dumping their entire payslip into.
Of course.
Like
these silly roulette machines.
Exactly. Yeah. The thrill of winning, and then there's also a subset of people who's going to go, right, I'm going to spend £80-100 on this weapon, and I'm going to destroy everybody in this game. And essentially, all it is, it's legalised cheating.
Yeah, and it is. It is.
Yeah, but they're going to feel great about it. They're going to get their little dopamine hit. The developers are going to get their money. Whether or not they realise they've sold their soul to do it, the publishers are going to get paid off, and everybody's going to leave.
And I think a lot of the time, the people who are doing this, the people that are buying this stuff, actually, like you were saying, like it's sort of, it's a form of gambling, and we've had this conversation before on the internet, and people are EA's got in a lot of trouble over it, but I don't think some of these people realise what they're actually doing and how much they're actually spending, because these companies are very, very clever at getting you to spend your money. Because I mean, I've literally never ever bought any cosmetics or anything within a game, and that's not because I'm tight or I don't want to support. I will support a developer if I think they're going the right way. Like I'd support WW3, even my .game, if it was just cosmetics. If I'd never buy them, if I want a skin, or if I get a skin because I've grinded through the game, then I'm happy about that. If like there's a group of people that I can't really talk about what's happening or who it is. I think Box, and I will definitely be supporting them boys. I think they're going to go down the what's that called, where you you try and get funds.
Yeah, crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And there is a group of people that I hope will become a company, and I'll definitely be supporting their development. But like I say, if My.Games and World War 3 bring this game out free to play, and you can buy cosmetics and skins and customizations for your character, your weapons, blah 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 blah, and not pay to win, then I'll support this game. I'll give it time on my channel. I will support it. I will play the game. But if it's pay to win, then I'm having nothing to do, and I'll probably go at them for doing that. But for one of the reasons, bought is because I'm not. Look, I bought this game, and I, initially was a bit upset. I thought, you're going out free to play, and then I thought, you know what? If that's the way that they need to go to make the game successful, I thought, you know what? It was 15 quid. Who cares? Or whatever. I can't remember how much I paid for it. What does bother me though, Bort, sorry for butting in, what does bother me, and I have to say it, is that I've asked them so many times on Twitter, and it seems to get a lot of likes, so I think people are thinking the same thing, that look, I bought this on Steam, I want to play it on Steam, leave it on Steam. I don't know if there's a reason why they can't leave it on Steam, but you know what I don't want to do, is I don't want to install a third-party launcher, especially from the people who are supporting World War 3. I just don't want to. I've paid for the game. It's coming out free to play, so therefore I obviously I can have it because it's going to be free to play, but I want to play it on Steam, or I want to play it so I don't have to launch it through a third-party launcher.
Well, do you know what? Let me make some predictions. Let me look into my crystal ball.
Yeah, crystal ball.
Yeah. Well, it's not a crystal ball. It's so full of negativity. It's like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Can't see through. Right. Okay. So this is what's going to happen. They are going to use a third-party launcher because they want to install.
I can see it coming.
Crap on your computer.
Yeah.
That's they want your data because if it's free, you're the product.
And they want something back. And if they can't get it by selling your skin, they're getting it by selling your data.
Exactly. Number two, so they will start off without pay to win per se.
Right.
There will be skins, and there will be, the usual microtransactions which don't affect gameplay and people who enjoy
cosmetics and
So they will introduce popular game modes, a la Battle Royale and different things like that.
Sure.
And eventually, sometime this year, a new Battlefield game's going to launch.
See, that's another thing I thought we should talk about, Box. Have you seen when they want to release it?
Yeah. But this game, it's already dire. Player count is going to become even more dire.
Sure.
And they're going to try and compete.
It's not going to happen. It can't. It will not work. It will fail.
It will. And then you'll see a slow, steady, incremental introduction with future updates of pay-to-win stuff. And it's just this one weapon. Look, it's gold. That kind of mentality. And
it's twice as powerful as anything else in the game.
There'll be a core bunch of players who've been with it for a long time, who are heavily invested in it, who will continue to invest money in it. Because of this almost legal cheating system that they will get.
Sure.
And the game will probably die within the next 2 years. That's my
I don't even think it'd get 2 years, to be honest. I don't think it'd last that long unless they were sensible about the way they're going to conduct themselves via these microtransactions. But if you, like you said, if they, I mean, maybe they'll do that for 18 months, 12 months, 18 months, and then sort of sneak in these guns that are going to make you the best player in the game. I really don't know, but I can't see it lasting that long. My concerns is, as I was saying about 2 minutes ago, is the word on the street is they're going to try and get it out before Battlefield's release, which I think is a massive mistake, an absolute massive mistake.
Their logic is going to be first to market wins, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going to work. It's not because
No.
people are going to play Battlefield. You know, there's other people. I think it was I can't remember his name. It's a YouTube guy. I can't remember his name anyway. And he said, you know, a December window. I still think that'd be a massive mistake. What I think they should do is throw out a couple of betas, and leave this game alone till spring next year. That would be my personal views. Let people play Battlefield. Let people, you know, that have seen this new fantastic game by DICE or whatever they called now, Wobbly, whatever it is. So let them play that game. Let them get pissed off with that. Let you know the core players of Battlefield, the veterans that are going to play it till the game dies. Let them get disinterested with that and then fire this game out. Give people something else to play. I think the ideal time for this game to come out would be, you know, spring next year.
You know, the ideal time for the game to come out was when they released it.
When it came out.
Yeah, it was
because
2018.
Battlefield failed, yeah.
Yeah, 2018 when they released them. We're in 2021 now.
Yeah,
so, they've been failing for a long time, and they will continue to fail. And you know, I'm not knocking the individuals behind it. I'm sure they're passionate. I'm sure that they've got the right idea. I'm sure they've got the best intentions. But sometimes you just miss the boat, and it's better to move to a new project. Simple as that. You know.
So you think that would have been the better idea? Reinvent the game rather than reinvent the game.
just don't call it World War 4.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that you've got to do to keep it legit. But no, you know, look, there's a lot of games that come out to quite a lot of early fanfare, and they do very, very, very well early on.
Sure.
Sometimes I think the best thing is to almost stop, build on what you've got, and then put something out that's an improvement on you know, it's a slightly different thing. But if you look at what Battlefield 3 and 4 did, you know,
yeah, I mean, when Battlefield 4 came out, it was revolutionary, I thought.
Yeah, but it wasn't that much of an improvement on Battlefield 3 initially.
Yeah.
But it built on the strong points of Battlefield 3 to the point where, you know, it's the game that we're still playing now.
I know, and we were playing it last week, so...
Yeah. But imagine if they'd have decided to say, well, let's just keep on developing Battlefield 3 for another 3 years and building on it. You'd have still had the same core mechanics. You'd still have the same base game. Sometimes it's better to draw a line, take the technology that you've got...
And say, let's move on.
Yeah, let's build on this. Let's build, you know, like where we were in 2018 in terms of what was fresh and new and amazing is going to be free to play and crap in 2021, 2022.
So, you know, a lot. Well, there's people been asking in the chat if it's coming out on PS4. I think that's a strong thing for them because we know a game that, you know, failed because of the promises of a console edition. Again, this would be another plus for them, getting it out on the consoles as well. It's, you know, it's another question we need to ask, and I've not asked them, to be honest, because, you know, I in my head it's just like console edition. I actually forgot that, you know, there's a new generation of consoles. Are they gonna, you know, dip their toe in last generation as well as this generation consoles? That's another thing. And is it going to be cross-play? There's a lot of things to ask, and I'm personally just hoping that they get it right this time. And like I say, they're going to PAX. They're going to be showing us the game at PAX. So again, I'm a little apprehensive, but you know, in the same breath, I'm still quite excited for the game. I'm just going to go to chat box. It's one or two people asking questions. We've got Phoenix 201. To be honest, if I got this, I'd probably be the one to have nightmares about World War 3. Russell Strongman, good morning, lads, from Queensland, Australia. Glad to catch you in the live stream. Nice to see you, Russell. I've not seen you for ages, mate. Not seen you about for ages. Russell has commented on a few of the videos. But yeah, there's new hype for this game. I personally want it to go well, and I do wish, the developers the best of luck in this game. I just want you to do it right.
I just another prediction from
sure
from the bowling ball. We're talking about this, and obviously this game lost its community early on, and
very quickly
as a result. Now, if they do manage to release this game on consoles, what a kick in the teeth for NWI. Like a game with
just
zero player base managed to get it out and monetize it. But just
same engine.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody from NWI listening, please no free to play.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Because 2022 Insurgency Sandstorm free to play edition. We've already seen the type of skins they wanted to bring out. So we know
because you'll get that. There'll be no ifs and buts. I won't be able to say anything. No one will be able to say anything because they'll say, "Look, we're doing what we want because it's free." Yeah. You know that, Bolt.
I just don't want to give them any ideas. I just want to preempt it. And if it does ever happen, I'd just like this moment in time, 2106, to be referenced as me showing my distaste before the decision was made.
Yeah, before it happens. Yeah. And World War 3, please manage your community well. As we were talking about Insurgency Sandstorm, they've got a history after Alex, because Alex Blomsky, for me, was a great community manager. Manage your community well, treat them well. Listen to the community and don't just ignore them. Don't just do what you think you want to do. Yes, it is your game. You are the developer, but it's the community that keeps you going. Please, please, please get a decent community manager. Don't just pick someone up, a random, fanboy of your game just because he likes your game. You need, I think, an experienced community manager. It makes a massive difference.
You need somebody who knows the difference between criticism and attack.
Correct. Yeah.
Because I'm as bad as this as anybody else. I criticise pretty much every game I play in some sense.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as perfect. It doesn't mean a game's not amazing.
No.
A good example of this is I held off on buying Red Dead Redemption 2.
Sure.
Because again, a bit of a shaky launch on PC. Lots of people were saying, "Oh, it's buggy, it's crap, it's this, it's that," and I bought it in the recent Steam sale. And I've got to say, how much have I put into it now? Nearly 30 hours. Not a single crash, not a single bug. Enjoyed every minute of it. Absolutely brilliant. But there's things in it that aren't great. Like, there's elements to it that I'd change if I could. Now, if I was to give it a rating out of 5, I'd probably say it was a solid 4.
It's a good score.
Yeah. But it's a solid 4. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But do you know how many games I'd rate 5 ever? None.
Probably none. Yeah, none. Probably none.
Because there's some games that I absolutely love and in my opinion, are outstanding. But no game's ever perfect, just like anything. Perfection doesn't exist.
No.
And when I criticise them, or anybody criticises them, it's coming from a place of love almost. It's a love for the art form. The criticism's not on the developer or the artist or the person who's made it. It's just on where we are technologically and how that perfection isn't.
And I think you should be able to criticise. You should be able to say, "Look, I don't like this." And if you start acting like a bitch about it, you're gonna get these people that are gonna just go for you. I thought Dara Def was very weak. I thought Father Hank was very weak. But you know what? Before Father Hank became the community manager, I was saying things like, "Thank God, please. I hope he's a good community manager. I hope that he listens to the community, and I hope he can do a bit more." We had Dara Def. It was not, it was the Dara Def show. It wasn't, Insurgency Sandstorm. They didn't talk about the consoles, and she just. I think she took the piss out of the community. And then you got Father Hank, and for me, and I said it in so many videos, I thought he was just a puppet. And in the same breath, I did I did say, look, I know the guy works for NWI, and I know he's got to do, to an extent, what he's told. But you know what? I just didn't. All I saw in Father Hank was a very, very weak boy. And it doesn't come across well. And, it's things like, I'm going to show my sneakers today and here's what I'm wearing. And, when these people that have lost money, they've invested money in the game, the console pre-order, didn't get the money back. They didn't address it. He didn't address it. There was people that were upset about the PC things that were happening in the game. He didn't address it. They didn't address it. And when they brought out the cosmetics, they turned their back and they didn't release them Chinese ones. It was only because the whole community was in an uproar, and they had the audacity to turn around and say, see, we listened to the community, blah, blah, blah. It was only because pretty much 90%, if these people, there was a lot of people that hated me out there, still hate me because they're NWI fanboys. And, for people to come on my videos, those people come on my videos and say, there's something wrong if I've got to agree with Devlin.
Yeah, well,
Do you know what I mean? So they need a very, very strong community team. They've got to, and I don't think one community manager is going to be, enough. They need a small team to manage the social media, manage the YouTube, have a YouTube channel, talk to the community often, and just there it is. There's the word, communicate. I think they need to do that because I don't want to see another NWI.
No, I was thinking about this last time we were speaking about NWI. I think it's always interesting to kind of put yourself in the position of somebody running a business.
Sure.
Like that. What would I do? I don't think I'd have a community manager.
You don't think you'd have one at all?
No, I don't think. I don't think there's anything wrong with marketing. I don't think there's anything wrong with communication. I don't think there's, things like putting up devlogs and that kind of thing, and communicating with your audience that way, having a comment section, whatever it.
Because Battlefield do that well. They when they do them developer videos, I think they're great, and they've got them planned out. They know exactly what they want to say. They try and address shit.
I struggle with the idea of having somebody as the face of a project who can't really represent the project.
Right. The
project should just represent itself. Now, I'd rather spend the money I was going to spend on a 2-bit community manager on a developer who's going to improve core mechanics.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Or an artist who's going to improve the visuals in the game. That'd be my concern. Now, if your product is good, it should just sell itself, yeah.
You'd think, but I think I'm not sure what the chat thinks. And by the way, if anyone's watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, I've set this this time on subscriber only for in the chat. But if you are watching, don't forget, give us a thumbs up. It always helps. And also, everyone who's subscribed to the channel will get a chance. And I'll be, over the next few months, I'll be giving out information of what I'm doing. But first of all, if you want to be in the chance of winning Battlefield 2042 on whatever format that you want, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. And like I say, over the next couple of months, I'll let you know the criteria. But, the first thing is you've got to be subscribed to the channel. I'm definitely giving a copy away, like say, whatever format that you want. And hopefully I'm going to be doing one or two other things. So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Back to World War 3. There's some doubts. I'm excited about certain things about the game. Hope they can get it right. If anyone's just tuned in or you're watching it after the live stream, me and Borks have been talking about our concerns, or what we are excited about the game. I'm certainly excited. Bork has his concerns. I have my concerns, but thing is, Bork, do we give it another chance? Do we let them try again, or are you going to stand by saying that they should have reinvented themselves within a new game?
So, they absolutely deserve a second chance.
There's another game, Russell Strongman, that I'm piped for, 6 Days in Fallujah.
Same. My only concern with 6 Days in Fallujah is I've got a feeling that we're going to be disappointed on release because it's going to feel quite dated.
Do you think?
Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because, like I can go back and play games from 20 years ago and still enjoy them. I mean, just before we came on tonight, I was playing Enemy Territory Quake Wars. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Oh my God.
And I just had this weird kind of epiphany this afternoon. Damn, I haven't played that game in a long time. So I went and installed it. I played about 3 or 4 rounds of it, and I thought, you know what? Nah,
Did you enjoy it? No.
Yeah, it's aged.
Oh, right, okay.
It's aged up. It feels just like Battlefield 2, but obviously Marines versus the Strong and all that.
Sure.
I enjoyed it. But yeah, these guys definitely deserve a second chance. Like I said, the game will likely be fair and balanced when it releases in terms of microtransactions and pay to win. But it will decline. I promise you it will, because it always does. And that's a shame. That's a shame.
I think they're going to fight a battle. Like I say, I'm excited about the game. I'm going to sneeze. Jesus. I'm excited about the game. I'm with you. I think they will struggle. I hope they don't. I hope they get a decent enough following that the game can become popular. I do think they'll struggle because in everyone's mind, there's people, shouting fraud, shouting, this is a scam, blah, 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 blah. And these are the people that previously bought the game and they're on the Twitter saying, I want my money back, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, and I can understand, Box, I can understand that. I'm not going to say, you bought the game, it's now coming free to play, so what? I'm not particularly bothered. As long as I get a decent game. One thing that concerns me is a third-party launcher, but, thinking realistically, it's going to happen.
On that same topic, one of the things that I read today was concerning was apparently the game has at some point contained a crypto miner. Obviously, I can't verify that. That's just what I read on a forum.
Sure.
But that's very sketch.
So what did you hear? I didn't see that myself, to be honest.
I was just reading on a forum. Somebody was saying that at some point the game included a crypto miner. It was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek. Is this going to be included in the free-to-play version? It may be incorrect information. It may be somebody had a crypto miner from elsewhere and it just whatever, but it did raise an eyebrow.
Well, that's not good. I never heard that myself, but that's definitely not a good thing. And you'll find that these data miners, if there's something in there, they will find it. And because the game, I mean, it did. I can't sugarcoat it. The game failed initially. They're coming out free to play. They've got a backer. There's a lot of money been thrown at it, I believe. But there's a lot of people out there that will be disgruntled, and there'll be people out there who do data mine, who know how to data mine, and they will go looking. And they should be wary of this. They should be wary and aware of this, because if you've got something in the game that's dodgy or iffy, someone's going to find that, and someone's going to put that out there on the internet. I think they need to be very careful. I know sometimes developers and people think they're very clever, but they will get caught out. I've not heard that, but that actually really shocked me, to be honest.
Listen, it happens. It's just something I read. It may be unsubstantiated, but
it's
just something that I read. But again, free to play. It goes hand in hand with dodgy, usually.
I mean, we were talking about games that have done it successfully, and not a game I play, and I think I've played it once, Fortnite, but they've done it really, really well. I can't take it away from them.
I've got a real soft spot for Epic Games. Obviously, the guys behind Unreal Tournament, so they're
Yeah.
very, very close to my heart. In fact, they're the only game studio that I own a T-shirt for.
Shit, you bought merch.
It was
Talking of merch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. There was a tweet several years ago that came up and said, "Look, we've just found these Unreal 2004 T-shirts. We put them up on the store." And I was like, "Boom, buy!"
You go on.
Yeah, but I don't know why. It was like a weird kind of reflex.
Sure.
And about 6 weeks later, this Unreal Tournament shirt. So I thought, "Fucking hell, I bought that." Yeah, totally forgot about it. Do you know what? I don't regret it. I think.
And that's just a thought. Actually, we said we were going to buy that and play that one day.
Absolutely, I'd love to do a bit of a classic games.
Stream. We'll do a stream.
Yeah. Maybe a bit of Unreal Tournament, maybe a bit of Quake, maybe
Serious Sam.
Serious. Oh yes, definitely. Right on my street.
We'll have to see if people had watched that. Actually, would you like to see some old school stuff like Unreal Tournament, Serious Sam, Quake? Even Doom and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it'd cope with, the hardware we've got now. Would it still run something like Doom?
Yeah, you can run Doom, on DOSBox. Yeah.
Well, we'll organise that. We'll do a retro stream one Friday night. That'll be interesting, actually. Definitely up for Unreal Tournament. I used to love that game.
Well, I up until very, very recently played a lot of UT 2004.
Right.
We've got quite a lot of friends who I used to kind of. Do you remember we used to play this kind of?
Yeah.
And do you know what? Playing it deathmatch against bots with the difficulty setup.
Yeah.
It's still great fun. I still stand by the fact that it's still one
buzzing,
of the
actually.
Yeah, best experiences you can have.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely organise that. Yeah, retro night playing some of the older games. That'd be perfect. So World War 3, look, for it to be a success, Bort, and it is going free to play. What do you think, and you think they should do and shouldn't do?
They need to be honest.
Yeah.
They need to not sell their souls and go with pay to win, even if the money is tight. And if the project does fail, they need to be upstanding and honest and say this has failed and end the project rather than let it run off into years of obscurity and milking it for cash. Now, like I said, that's not the developers usually. That's not the people behind it. They're usually passionate people who care. But in theory, you've already sold it to a publisher. It's their choice. I don't know. I don't think this can succeed. If I'm honest, I think that.
I actually think I've got to go there, Bort. I think I have to totally agree with you. However much I am excited for this game, however much I want it to succeed, I think it's. I think not just the developers. I think the game's actually lost its way. I think if they would have taken a bit more time when they actually initially released it, I don't know if this is the case, but I think they just went with cheap servers to host the game. If they would have put a little bit more money and thought into the game, I think it could have worked first time round because there was a lot of interest. I think this time round, though, for me, you were saying, like 2 years. I don't think it's got 6 months in it, even though I've got to say I really want this game to succeed. I really enjoy playing it when I actually got onto a server and played the game. I honestly think it's got six to 8 months to it, regardless if it's free to play or not. But like you said, that they've got to be honest. They've got to be upfront. If it fails, just say, look, it failed. We've got something else that we're working on. We're going to give it 100%. We now know how to release a game. We now know, the direction we want to go in. But be honest with the community. If the game's failing, just deal with it straight away. Don't make the game play to win. By all means, sell cosmetics, sell customizations, skins, whatever. But as soon as you make this game, regardless if it's free to play or not, you're not big enough to make this game pay to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think you summed it up nicely there. It's a shame, but it is where it is. If it lasts 6 months, I think it'll peak well before then. But I can see it. I can see it petering out a slow, painful death as many free-to-play first-person shooters has.
Because it's a big market out there, Borked. It's they are a small fish in the proverbial big pond.
And do you know what? The biggest game in the world has a free-to-play version now.
I know.
So it used to be you were competing against other
indies, other games that could fail instantly. You're not. You're up against the monster that is Warzone. It's as simple as that.
And do you know what? I'm not a Warzone player. I have played it.
I'm not. I've played it. I'm just shit at it.
I watch videos of it on YouTube and I think, Joe, what? I'd love to play that again. And I never do for some reason.
I'm just rubbish. I can play Modern Warfare. I can play Cold War. I had, I think, my best run, and it's nothing to people out there, but I had a 19 kill streak. And I can play the multiplayer. I was, Cold War, Modern Warfare. Put me in Warzone. I panicked like a little bitch.
You know what? I think that's the interesting. I know it's slightly off topic, but that's what's interesting about the whole battle royale mechanic, is that it's probably the first game mode in a very long time that actually makes you feel something and gets the adrenaline going.
Yeah. I suppose. I'm not a massive BR fan, to be honest.
Neither am I, but what that feeling reminds me of is the feeling of playing old school hardcore shooters.
Yeah.
Where your death counts. It means something. And it's so unlike Call of Duty in all of the other ways that those games have gone, where it's a meat grinder from start to finish, and where they've ended up is in what I believe to be quite a hardcore angle, where your life actually counts, where you it's not just a case of you get to respawn and carry on.
So do you think they've done that game right? So you think Warzone as a free to play is the pinnacle out there at the moment?
Wouldn't say the pinnacle, but I think they've done an absolutely amazing job of making a pre-existing franchise something new and fresh and developing interest.
And that's hackers. Beside all the hackers and the cheaters, we're talking about the game itself, not the involvement with cheaters and hackers. We're not talking about that. We understand that there is an issue with that. We're talking about the game and reinventing Call of Duty into a battle royale. I do. I personally think they've done an absolute superb job.
Do you know what? Obviously, the guys behind it, Raven. With the guys behind some of my favourite games, the Soldier of Fortune games. Yeah. They've historically made some of the best first-person shooters of the last decade.
Sure.
And then they've come on to this, and I have to say that the quality's there. Like, it may not be the game that I go to and play. Maybe I'm a bit old. I don't know. But,
I just found it I know my problem with that game is that any battle royale, honestly, I know, and maybe it's because of that, because of what you've just explained, that your life does actually matter. I mean, you get one chance of coming back with Gulag, but
we've spent the last probably 15 years playing meat grinder, respawn, games. Yeah. But the 5 years prior to that weren't that way. Back when, I don't know about you, but you used to feel a bit tense and a bit like, this means something. And I do think with Warzone, they've reinvented that. They've brought it back. It's not a relaxing experience. It's not a sit back and just kill experience. It's not a meat grinder. It's oh shit.
You've got to be quite methodical in that game, and I mean, maybe that's why I don't. Because the bottom line is, in the multiplayer, you just run about and shoot people. You know, I mean, you do have to think in Warzone, and you know, I've got to admire that. You know, some of the actual players that are not cheaters, some of the actual players, I look at them in awe sometimes and think, how the fucking hell did you do that?
Oh, there's unbelievably skilled people. Now, you know, I used to get banned from Unreal servers back when I was in college.
Right.
And you know, I played deathmatch and just keep on killing until it was like you're banned for cheating.
Yeah.
I never was, but I used to have such like a pride at the fact that somebody thought I was
Cheating. I was playing that well. They thought I was cheating.
And this is back in the days of 56k, and
yeah.
And I used to sit there thinking, yes, got banned for another one. Now
another medal.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. There were no pros available. There were in some regards because there are tournaments and there are people who are still today playing that are absolutely amazing. But there wasn't this esports or, you know, streaming or that kind of thing.
Sure.
But I do like to think if that technology and that world had existed back then in the early 2000s, then maybe I'd have been somebody in gaming. Maybe I'd have been good enough.
You never know. You never know, mate. You never know.
But I do think today, when I look at some of the kids, I know they say that once you get to your mid-20s, your hand-eye starts to fade.
Mine certainly has.
Mine too. Like, you know, I never thought it'd happen, but it definitely has.
Yeah, it does.
But I watch some of these young kids play today, and I'm like, do you know what? Fair play. Like,
there's exactly.
Real skill, real talent, real dedication.
Definitely.
And they're reinventing something that I didn't think could be reinvented.
Well, anyway, so we've done about an hour, Bort. We were talking about World War III. I think the conclusion is myself and Bort don't think that it's going to last. We both want it to. We both, you know, think they should do what they're doing and trying again. But however, we're not very optimistic about it. We've give you our views on what they should do and what they shouldn't do. Fingers crossed that they have some success with the game. I just personally don't see it. But I want to thank everyone for watching the stream. And if you're watching afterwards, appreciate you coming along. Don't forget, just before you go, to give us a thumbs up. We've only got 3 likes. What's going on? And if you want to win a copy of Battlefield 2042, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's one of the criteria. Bort, say good evening.
Yeah, good night. Look after yourself.
Yeah. So, like I say, thanks very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Laters.